Our guest for today's episode is Rohan Mishra. Rohan is currently working as a senior product designer at UrbanCompany. He previously worked with Zomato where he led multiple initiatives. He also runs a community called as Design Sundays which helps and provides mentorships to designers who are just getting started. We talk about building and growing a community, learning from his Zomato days, and what he's currently working on in UrbanCompany. We also talk about building and launching a product for another country. Stick till the end of the episode because Rohan has a lot of learnings to share from over the years, and you don't want to miss any of it. I'm your host, Kaushik Malli, and you're listening to Product Stories. Hey Rohan, welcome to Product Stories. I'm so glad to have you here. I'm super glad you accepted the invite and to be here on a weekend. Great to have you, man.
Thank you, Kaushik. Thank you so much for having me. I generally don't hear from people in this much detail as you reached out to me. So thank you so much for having me, man.
Yeah, I'm so glad. You were actually one of the first few people I started talking to in the design industry when I was getting started with design. I still remember sending my first portfolio to you, and I remember you even giving feedback and everything. And you have been someone who has been extremely helpful for people who are just getting started in design, not just individually helping people, but also you have been constantly having these live sessions, YouTube videos, and all these things. um, and
Glad
yeah,
that could be of any help. Thank you.
yeah, and I've heard so many good things about the community which you're building, which is Design Sundays, and and also which is like the huge reason why we are here today in this podcast episode as well, right? To talk about what Design Sundays are really about and how did it start? What has your journey been like so far? Everything about it is what I'm so looking forward to talk to you about. So
I'll
yeah,
try my best to help you with every single question as much as I can and as much as I know. Yeah, look forward to having a great conversation with you, man.
yeah, yeah. So Rohan, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, give a little bit of intro to audience who probably don't know you, who probably should know you, but yeah,
Um, Yeah. So, hi guys, my name is Rohan. I am a product designer. What essentially that means is, to me, essentially, is I help companies build products which help their users and in turn bring revenue or business to the company. I'm not from any traditional background. Whenever I talk to someone in my team or in a far circle, someone is from NIFT and ID and all that stuff. I got started in design when I was doing I was doing engineering, and I think a lot more people have started with it recently. So I got started with it through engineering, and that's when I used to write a little bit of code and used to build help organizations and government with tons of freelance clients, done tons of internship to figure out what I really wanted to do in this industry and what I wanted to accomplish. Got to work with some amazing folks. Got to work with some really, really, really good companies. Work with Zomato, Urban Company, and a lot of YC funded startups. So that has been my journey along the way. I've tried to help as many people as I can in the industry and get into the industry as well, and that's where the whole idea of design Sundays came to be. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. I think it's too much already.
this is extremely short and sweet. So yeah, while we are talking about Design Sundays, let me jump into the first question, which is what is Design Sundays really about? And I have been seeing it from day one, but I want to know from your perspective what is Design Sundays according to you, and where do you see it going, and how did it actually start? I so that's something I would definitely love to know.
So one of the things that I got early on, and I realized early on in my life, is community, or the like a group of people interested towards us, like a goal, or a single source of motivation. They create a huge difference in your growth and your career. So, since I was in college, we built a community which is known as Geek Hub. It's very big now, but we essentially built it from nothing because, uh, there were a lot of issues that we were trying to solve around placements and getting people uh, skilled, right? There were not a lot of hard skills people knew back then, and things like that. So I got a taste of what running a community is and what it means to be in a community, right? So that really happened, and that's when I learned something, that whenever I used to work with these people, or I try to help someone, it actually helped me learn a lot of skills, whether it be how I I remember a time when I was in school. I literally had fever just to think about going on stage and talking to literally 20 people, right? And yeah, so from there I have talked to thousands of people being on the stage, and that's what I essentially wanted to build. And first, how it started with I wanted to hang around with people who are more intelligent than me, who have more experience than me. And what I saw was there was a lot of people who wanted to do the same, and are not were not getting access to these people, right? So that's where it started, that I want to have I want to spend more time with these intelligent people, learn from their experience and things like that. And that's where the idea of Design Sundays came to be. And till date, our biggest sort of achievement, or accomplishment, or this thing has been the people we have worked with, the people we have hosted. And it has helped us in many ways, and we are thankful to all of them for coming on, and sharing their learnings with us. And that's how, as you mentioned, you reached out to me, and for feedback and everything. I reached out to many people, and I know hundreds of people want to reach out to these people. So at DS, at Design Sundays, what we are trying to essentially build is a community where you can learn, and you can learn from these amazing people. You can prepare for your next career, and grow as a designer or as a professional. And when I say grow, it's not just about job. And we have plans into growing, helping people grow into, let's suppose if they want to do freelance, so be it, right? You want to be a solopreneur, and that's essentially. And as designers, it's slightly easier, right? Like getting a freelance clients and everything, it's slightly easier. So we really want to help people learn skills, prepare for next stage of their journey, and grow as a designer. And I think amazing networking with these folks and learning from them can really enable that.
True, true. So one of the questions which I have is like, building a community, starting a community is actually pretty easy, but then all being consistent with the community, like, building it over time, and at the same time ensuring you're regularly, conducting these sessions, regularly engaging these community and everything, and all of this while having a full-time job. And I'm sure it's like, super, super, super tough. um, what are, these challenges which you face, when it comes to managing the community? At the same time, growing the community can also be a challenge in itself, right? So what are these challenges which you have faced while working on Design Sundays?
You have really nailed the question, because I think starting anything is very easy, but sticking to it, being very consistent at it, it takes a lot of work, right? And we have been in So, I'll tell you. So I started this community alone. Now we are four people who, all of us have certain responsibilities. Some people just take growth, growth charters and everything. So what does that mean? That how do we take design Sundays from, let's suppose, a community of 2,000 people to, let's suppose, a 15,000 or 20,000 people or something like that, right? And I started this alone, and I used to be a person, and still am a person who likes to, do things quickly and test out a lot of stuff on my own. But it takes a team, right? And being consistent is very, very difficult. But I only, I was able to only stick with it for two reasons. First is, um I think I'm a kind of person who gets energy, from talking to you. So right now we are, 10 minutes in the conversation, and right now my energy level is this. And towards the end of the conversation, and let's suppose this is 1 hour or something, I'll be at this level of energy. Why is that? Because I tried, I actually get a lot of energy from talking to people, right? I'm super excited whenever I'm discussing it with someone, right? Not so much being on camera is something that is very new to me, but I generally tend to, have the, get energy from people. So that is one. Second is, you always have to remember why you started, right? And whenever I feel like I'm going off course, just I go back to why I started this in the first place. And the idea is still the same, right? I want to learn from people who are smarter than me. I want to, help them. I want to help them in some way. I want to, build a very good relationship with them. And that is it, right? So for me, has been the way. The growth challenges are very tricky. At So most of the people, they have to, they really fail to understand the point that starting something and getting, a very early traction is just going to take you to some level, and then after that you have to bring something new, something of value to the people, or something, so that, you can grow, which is actually missing. And we also face the similar challenges around how do we grow, and how do we take the community to more people. And what essentially has worked for us is sticking 80% to the things that we currently do, which is like hosting people and things like that, and 20% is growth bets. So growth bet is, let's suppose we start a conference sort of structure. We start a, Instagram something. We start doing reels. We start doing different content formats. We start doing workshops. So those are our growth bets. We want to see what works, what doesn't, and a lot of things happen when you are running a community. It's not all, like you know very easy. Some, we constantly burn a lot of money from our pockets, but in the long run that pays off. You will have to figure out a lot of things on your own. There are a lot of people in our team who, a lot of, three people there are in the team, but two of them were very shy. They used to be, a person give them work and they will, figure out stuff and they'll do it. But when it comes to talking to people, right, and discussing and reaching out to people, that's where they used to struggle. And with the help of committee, they have, slightly started picking this up, and we are in a stage where, we can reach out to people, we can do a lot of things. Same, yeah, like I think a lot of these problems are happens when you work with people, right? And we constantly deal with this, that what if we do this and no one comes, right? And right now I'm as we are 6-7 days away from the next season of YouTube series that we do, we constantly have this fear. What if, we get lesser traction than the first season, although we have good amount of people reaching out to us, when is the next season coming up and things like that. We still take tons of feedback from the people who attended the season one, that how can we do it better, how can we provide more value to you, right? Even the, like asking a very simple question, that what was the one thing that if we could have done better, you would have learned better, or it would have helped you in your career. So those are the things, and I think as this is a community, we take a very building by community sort of approach. We will reach out to people, we'll ask them questions, right? Rather than we sitting down and saying, let's build this and let's see people are coming or not. But yeah, those are the kind of problems. But over time, we have learned that consistency is the key. If you do not do something consistently, don't do it in the first place. It's never a 1 year, 2 year thing. You have to do it for 5, 10 years consistently to see any of the things work out for you.
Yeah. That's
I
like a
hope this answers
very
your question.
yeah, definitely. But I mean, the whole answer in general, right? That it's a very interesting approach to build a company, and yet at the same time, it's also, I feel, a very humble approach from whatever I am sensing from talking to you. But yeah, there are like bunch of things, right, with Design Sundays as well. That something which I've noticed is that you mentor people across platforms. I think it started with like Instagram, and I started seeing you do this more actively on Twitter as well. So if I'm not wrong, one of the important things about Design Sundays is like providing mentorship for like new folks, right? New folks who are getting into design. So what kind of mentorship are you providing? And like if I'm let's say a new designer just getting started, what can I expect from Design Sundays?
Oh, we have been off track, on track, but so essentially where we started is we want to help a lot of new folks get into design, get the sense of what are the hard skills and what are the soft skills, that are needed. When you get into conversation with any of the mentors that we have, or or me or someone, we try to first understand where you are in the journey, because people, so people have a problem, right? When they reach out to me on Instagram or somewhere, they are not very specific about what is the kind of feedback or what is the kind of help they are looking for. Hey, I want to get into UI UX, can you help me how, right? Like, what have you done? Like, are you coming from a psychology background or a tech background, or what is your background, right? Like, what have you learned in your past life, right? Are you stuck somewhere, or are you just starting out? I don't know, man, right? Like, so that is the kind of thing we try to gauge first. We talk to people, we understand, okay, this is the kind of problem the person is facing, and they, if we know of a resource or we know of a people, we try to connect them to those resources. So let's suppose if there is a course we saw that it will help person with something like this, we'll share that, right? This is one approach, connecting resources or connecting people to the mentees or the people looking for help and advice. Second way is essentially whenever we feel that a lot of people are, let's suppose, reaching out and saying that they are facing challenges in UX research, we try to host a session or a workshop around it, right? So that is the another way, and again, it comes from a wider audience that that we want to learn this, right? So we'll invite a speaker, we'll do a workshop, and something that we do more often. So these are the ways we try to help. Third is if they are looking for a job or anything, and we do screen their portfolios and everything, and we say, okay, if they are ready, then we refer them to some of our friends working in companies, or pass on their resume to a few folks. So these are essentially the three buckets, what we try to do.
Interesting. So, I mean, that's actually like a bunch of things, and it's also extremely comprehensive about how you provide mentorship, or what kind of mentorship you provide for new folks, right? And I think it's extremely important for someone getting started as well to get this kind of direction, because I think irrespective of how good you are at learning things by yourself, you need a certain level of direction, which I think a good community can definitely provide. And um,
Yeah,
at the same time, you will reach a point where community members start helping each other, and I think that's like
yeah.
the most ideal state to be in as a community as well.
So I'll
Great.
give you an example, Kaushik. So one of my students, she works in PayU, right? And she's doing great there. What how she started was, she knew the craft. What I mean by that is she knew the hard skills required for the job, and she was good at it. What she was missing is lack of confidence, right? And having that imposter syndrome, even though she had nothing to be worried about. She knew what she's doing, what she wants to do, how to solve a problem, and she had the skills, right? What And this is 2 years back I'm talking about. What we did was, we at that point of time I was running this thing called product design launchpad. So it was a bunch of people, 8 week 8 week you spend and you try to build a case study or a project of your own, right? And a lot of people were from the industry, and they were not trying to build the project because they didn't want the job or anything. They had a job, right? They were trying to learn the skills, right? So that was how we started. She got into it. She literally rocked it. She was one of the, like you know like, even if there is a there you have a group of people, who is excelling and who is lagging behind, right? So she was one of the people who used to be very consistent with the output. She produced good work. She did great research. The end result was amazing, and the whole team actually tried to catch up to her and make something awesome, right? And towards the end of it, she got so much confidence that in 3 weeks she actually got 7 or 8 offer letters. And I was like, I don't know, what are you doing with your life? Why do you need 7 8? Why did you first, in the first place, apply to like 10 companies, right? Like just apply to the ones you want to work with and just go and work with them, right? The problem with her was not her hard skill problem. It was a soft skill problem or a confidence problem, to be very honest, right? And uh, if I would not have talked to her, I would not have understood it. It was very hard for me. I would have been teaching her ki, no, make the visual designs like this, which she is already good at, right? So for me to provide any kind of value, first I need to understand the challenges that you are facing right now. If, let's suppose, I'm a person who comes in, you invited me to speak, and for every single person in the room I say, you go do practice visual design, you go do UX research, without having any context of it, it might not help you, right? Like you might be facing something else. So it's for me to understand it, I would like to know you better, and then only I can help you.
Yeah, definitely. That context is absolutely necessary when you're providing any kind of mentorship to anyone. I think which is
And
also like
we
a problem if you think about it. Whenever anyone reaches out to you on Instagram DM or Twitter DMs, they just don't provide enough context. But they're sometimes not even asking
Yeah,
very specific questions, right? It just becomes very difficult for someone to provide help to people when they
yeah.
don't provide context or then not being specific.
I think we do enough parallels with doctors, right? That you need to ask questions, you need to uncover the problem. People might be talking in terms of symptoms, or what is happening with them, right? But what is causing that problem, right? Why are you facing this problem? So I think you should tell everything to your doctor, lawyer, and designers. Okay, just to paraphrase it, just share everything with. If you are reaching out to a mentor, why wouldn't you tell them, right? They might give you a better advice. They might be able to help you better. So yeah.
True, true. With all these things that you're already doing in with Design Sundays, and at the same time, you're growing rapidly as well as a community and everything. What is what does the future of Design Sundays look like? What is probably like the next roadmap? What are some of the things that you have planned? And I hope you can share some of it here.
Yeah. So we have a 3 4 years plan ready, right? But like 3 4 year plans is not just like, we want to do this. 3 4 year plan is mostly, I think, a vision, and that has been divided into uh, 5 or 6 small missions, right? So we for right now for 6 months we essentially want to focus a lot more on learn part, which is like which is why the YouTube series is back. You'll be seeing a lot more workshops, you'll be seeing a lot more courses, you'll be and everything is in works, right? We are currently doing a lot of stuff in that regards, and how can we create value for the people. And we have essentially started with the same user stories that actually led the formation of DS in the first place, right? So a lot of work is going to go in building the learn part of learn, prepare, and grow, and then we are going to shift towards prepare and grow, right? Which is I think it scares me because we have tried to do it, but we could not get the product market fit, and we know that there is a huge potential there. We just need to nail down the problems, and for that we have to really nail down on people doubling down on learn bit. So for 6 months we are focusing a lot more on to sum it up, YouTube series, workshops, courses, and more fun stuff around this part itself. So 6 months will not be doing anything else, will not be trying out, we'll be doing this. And yeah, that's the goal.
Sounds interesting, man. I mean, good luck with everything that you're trying to do with Design Sundays, and I hope you actually achieve all the goals that you have set for yourself, and at the same time get more closer to the overall vision that you started the community with. Right.
Thank you
So
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 much.
let's actually zoom out a bit from Design Sundays, your role in the community and everything, and talk a little bit more about you. I probably want to talk a little bit more about your Zomato days, where you worked on multiple features, you worked on multiple projects while you were at Zomato and you were there for quite some time. What were some of the challenges that you faced while working on these? What was some of the fun or interesting stories from your Zomato days? I would definitely love to know them.
Oh, this is amazing. After Zomato has been a career changing and life changing thing for me personally. I have grown a lot. Slight context would help here. I joined Zomato when it was really a 4-person team, and the team was bigger earlier, but the entire team left, and then Zomato was trying to build a new team from scratch, and I was the fifth person, I think, to join the design team. And it was very aggressive. Zomato has always been a place which has believed in this idea of taking actions and making things work, right? You will try crazy stuff. Most of the things will be visionary, uh, very very few times you will be working on something that just does incremental help to something, whether it be users, business, or anything, right? Like you'll be working on massive mandates, right? And right, that is the way Zomato's culture has been. DP has built an amazing team. And when I joined Zomato, right, like, I still remember my first second day. It was like, I was having a conversation, and the first project that I got started was a massive project. It was, and why am I sharing this? That was one of the things where I was really scared. Okay, so it was a tool to help the restaurants build their own menu and manage their menu for everything, right? So that was pretty huge because, like, a particular dish can have multiple variants. But think about pizza, right? Multiple toppings and multiple sizes and multiple crust and things like that, right? And if you're building it from someone, think about someone who is, like, who is running a restaurant, but he does not have that much tech understanding, or, like, he's not very much tech savvy person. How do you still make sure that that person will get it and use it? And it was a massive project. It took a lot of time and multiple iterations, and that was Zomato, right? Like, I was just getting the flavor of it. I'm saying, like, just touching the surfaces. So that was pretty huge as an opportunity. I got to learn a lot there. So first challenge that I mentioned, right? Massive context. Second is you had to align lots and lots of stakeholders on a lot of things, because there is business team, there is tech team, there is and the developers who are going to develop it. Then the sales goals are slightly different. Then you want to also make sure that we will be able to deliver it on time and things like that. So stakeholder alignment is, I think, I've learned stakeholder alignment at Zomato, because before that I was talking to, like, let's say, five people, and convincing them was slightly easy. But when the people are coming from their different targets and goals and things like that, it becomes slightly challenging. So that was the second challenge that I faced. The third was mostly around, like, taking figuring out things on your own. So when I was there, most of the times it was uh, like, going out, you do everything. If you need help, just, like, shout and someone will help you. But most of the times, like, people trusted you enough to, like, go out and figure out the answers, right? And there was no like, um, no one was checking you, right? Like, um, people believe that you have what it takes to do the things. And trust was really high throughout the team. And that was there. We were hiring. That was the fourth problem. Like, as we were growing, because we were working on multiple stuff, every person was doing two three different line of businesses, and we were hiring. So hiring, like, great quality team members for the team was tricky. And that was, like, these were, like, three four problems that I faced personally. And and that, like, but essentially that has all this experience has really helped me in growing into person who I am today, helping me figure out things in life. And yeah, really thankful for that experience in my life.
Yeah, I'm sure, man. And sounds like one hell of a journey in, while you were at
Amazing.
Zomato.
And the team was amazing. Yeah, like, we were a very small team, but we supported each other like anything. We used to work hard, we used to put in all nighters and things like that. But when we used to go out, we used to have crazy fun. And like, I really think that that was one of the best teams. I got to work with Vijay, who I used to follow for a very long time. There was, people who like, who were there in the industry for the longest. There are people who were like superstars on dribble and things like that. I got to work very closely with all those people and learn what makes them the like, the best in what they do. And I think, in one word, they were very consistent at what they were doing.
I'm sure, man. That sounds like one hell of an experience. Um, yeah, I mean, after that you moved to Urban Company, right? So how did that completely change? Like this was a drastic change, right? From being at Zomato to moving to Urban Company. What was that change like?
So, when I joined Zomato, Zomato was a very small team, and I really like growing into smaller responsibility into bigger ones and getting more people on board. When I left Zomato, so when I joined it, I was the fifth person in the design team, and when I left, I think we were a 22 people team. Some no, I think 18, something like 18 people team. And when I joined UrbanCompany, that was I think we were only 8 people. We have grown, I think, double since then. And yeah, UrbanCompany, I joined because of I wanted to really take this company which has got product market fit, which is doing amazing services, and taking how can we take it to next level. And one thing that really excited me was I was offered to grow all the countries and help all these different countries do the business. So most people know UrbanCompany as a India based a company, as a India based company and product. But we do operate in Singapore, Australia, Dubai, and Saudi Arabia, and soon we plan to launch USA as well. So when I joined in, dubai was uh, Dubai had just reached the product market fit, and we were doing a lot of different products that we do not have in India, but built for those countries. And Australia was struggling, uh, really struggling, and Singapore was slightly struggling, and the KSA business is new, that is something we have recently launched. So there was a big mandate, and all these countries have a very specific thing. They all operate like startups, because think about this: you are new in that country, you have to reach to product market fit. The people behavior in all these countries are slightly different. There are products that work in India won't work there, and there are products that work in those countries that will not work in India. For instance, let's suppose uh, in India, if you add a haircut, in your cart, right? So what makes perfectly sense to me is to suggest you, take a shave, or take a beard trimming or something as a service, right? If you go to Singapore, you can't do that, right? Any guesses why?
Uh, Probably because that's like a religion constraint or something.
No. So essentially, Asian men do not have facial hair. So
Oh,
something like that would not work there, right? Another example is something, if you think about it, in Dubai and all these countries that we operate in, we have a product which is called Sprout, right? So Sprout is a product which. So think about this: in India, you might have a housemaid, or a person who comes in, cleans your house, and things like that. You pay her monthly and things like that, right? In Dubai, it's very costly, and people do not get work visa that easily and things like that. So we have a product over there which is Sprout. So you create a service, will automatically schedule it, whenever you want to take it, once a week, twice a week, when how many times you want to take it. The payment will happen automatically, and the person will keep coming and cleaning your house, right? Because Dubai, as such, it's a very dusty country. Also, on top of that, if you think about it, you can't hire house help, but people are working, so they need help, and they are not going to come on your app and create a service every week, or twice a week or thrice a week. So something like this is a product that is built for there, right? And we do plan to bring that to India as well, but that is international first approach, like global first approach, right? Where we have built, and a lot of things, yeah, the way people go about booking a service in India versus a person in Australia going to book a service, it's very different. And there are other challenges also, like, in Dubai, we do not work with the professionals directly. We work with companies who have these professionals on payroll, right? Solving for the aggregator, right, who is a business partner, then solving for the professional. And there is a, like, middle layer to that also, which is like, there is a van service which takes all the professionals, 8 professionals, to, like, the buildings and the societies and things like that, right? So building for all these layers, and then also you want to make sure that the your customer has a great experience. That is something I picked on recently. I also started, like, with taking the repeat repeat design for repeat customer, increasing the loyalty of the, like, customer to the platform, is something that I've started working on. One of the things that we do is UC plus. So, like, these are some of the things that I have been working on in UC. A lot of challenges, different countries, we have to do tons of user research, usability testing, as, like, we are remote, but something that I really enjoy.
Yeah, coming to the research part, right? I was just actually heading there, which is what kind of research goes on in the background, and what kind of planning goes on when when you're building these features for other countries, or probably if you're like deciding to start your service in a new country, right? What kind of research and planning goes in the background?
There are tons of planning, and I think it's a very good question also, because um, there is a standard operating procedure that we have, like, in the national team, is whenever we start thinking about any country, we go through all the competitors app, and see how they provide service. We send two people team, they go, they research the market and everything. But whenever we are building something new, we do talk to a lot of the customers, we talk to the on ground teams, and understand, like, what is that, like, why this service is performing better, or how can we provide customers like a level service, right? So that they keep coming for the this thing. We do tons of paid user research. So, like, we incentivize a lot of people from other like, other customers from other competitor brand, that, like, you talk to us for like half an hour and things like that. And we talk to a lot of people, we try to understand what do they really like, what do they really want, and what is the essential things, like, they really like about the competitor's product, or they really want to be there. The Whenever we build something, we do a lot of usability testing, we do a lot of user research, we talk to them. We If we are doing something in India, we do a pilot run, if it makes sense for that country or not, because, as I said, like, something that might work in India might not work in, like, outside countries, and things like that. Yeah, so mostly tons of user research, talking to people, doing competitive analysis, doing like, a very, like, forming very good user stories and jobs to be done, like, putting everything there. And we try to figure out what is the bare essentials, how we can test that, if this feature or this product is really going to solve their problem, uh, MVP, if you will. And then we really go about building. Once we get the, like, positive signs around, like, yeah, this is working out, then only we go about building the full fledged product. And we constantly keep talking to the country teams, because if they have found a new insight, we want to learn from them, we want to understand that and use it in the product development process.
So that's a very comprehensive answer to the question, and thank you so much for giving such a nice answer. Yeah, man. I mean, this sounds really great. I'm one of, like, a very loyal user of Urban Company. Absolutely love every single service they provide, and I mean it's like my go-to solution with respect to anything, and I absolutely love it. Yeah, I mean, I love how easy and simple it is to book any service with Urban Company. So yeah, I'm super glad you're also behind the product. Great. So we have actually reached the end of the episode, and I usually end my episodes with, like, asking a bunch of rapid fire questions, like putting you in the spot and asking you these questions and hoping for
Too
to
much
get
pressure,
answers
too
out
much
of you.
pressure, too much pressure, man, too much pressure. But cool. I'll try my best to answer all of them.
Great. Shall we get started then?
Yes, let me put my thinking cap on. Yes, let's do it.
Awesome. Okay. So, the first question is, what is like the one community which you really, really like? It does not, it can be a design or a non-design community.
Product school.
Okay, great. One designer that you have worked with who constantly inspires you.
Vijay Verma.
So I know that you're someone who actually reads a lot of design books. So that's why this question is like one book you would recommend every single designer to read.
Tragic design.
Sorry, tragic design.
Tra- yes, tragic design.
Uh, I think I read tragic design after your recommendation. So
Tragic design is absolutely the best book that any designer can read because it makes you realize your potential as a designer. What happens if you mess up? How you can create an impact in the world, not just in terms of number, but saving lives and why you should pay attention, right? So absolutely, I think that would be go to, right? Like I think, yeah.
great. So one last question before we wrap up this episode. One advice that you would give to someone who's starting to build a community.
Be consistent with whatever you are trying to do and do not build it for yourself, build it for the people you're trying to help. And to do that, talk to tons of people first, right? Tons of people who are in this journey, who are your community members, right? Because you can be aiming at anything, but like scratching your own edge goes only a certain extent. You might want to just look at who else is facing the same problem, right? Because that's what a community is, right? Like
Yeah,
a group of people with shared interest or shared goal, right? So yeah.
true, true. Great, man. Thank you so much for doing this. It was a wonderful episode and a very informative episode with uh, quite a few things talking about the community, your time at Zomato, what work you're doing with Urban Company now. It was a great episode. I'm so glad you accepted the invite and decided to join the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kaushik. Thank you so much for having me. I love interacting with you. Yeah, like whenever you guys reach out, some people who have been in touch for a very long time, it's actually like is very uh, I am just like happy to see your growth. People like look up to you, and I'm so happy that I could help you with anything like very small in life. Thank you so much for reaching out. Thank you so much for inviting me. I loved our like interaction, and hope to see you soon.
Yeah, hope to see you whenever you're back in Bangalore again.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Or you can visit here as well. Would
Yeah,
love to like chat with you.
sure, man. Thank you so much, Rohan. Thank you so much for joining the show.
Awesome. Thank you, Kaushik. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Product Stories for more such episodes.